lefty-loosey, but it's righty because I'm backwards. I don't got the beans. Man, why do people gotta be torculating these so tight? Holy crap. Let me just take it for a little spin. I use my little fingies. Let's see if she's a chunky boy. Hello, YouTube. I am driving up to Fort Wayne this evening to pick up hopefully what'll be my new daily driver. Got this trooper loaded down. I'm just doing a rental to save money. So I'm gonna get this thing loaded up and I'll fill you guys in. I got out of the city a little bit, but we are driving to Fort Wayne, Indiana to buy a 1988 Toyota Land Cruiser. So it's an FJ62 automatic transmission. It's white. Body's a little rusty, frame looks good, supposedly runs, drives, stops really well. I'm gonna try to drive it home tonight. It's about a 4-hour drive. Yeah, that's pretty much, that's what we're doing in this Mitsubishi Mirage. It's the worst car I've ever driven. It's got 11,680 miles on it. So yeah, I'll kind of, you know, keep you updated a little bit, but I'm just gonna be sitting in the car listening to podcasts and music until we get close. I did a one-way rental on this Mitsubishi Mirage. The feller with the Land Cruiser is going to meet me at the rental place. So, see you in a bit. All right, about an hour into this 4-hour drive, stopping for the first gas stop. This Mitsubishi Mirage gets like 35 miles a gallon, so that's good. We're between Evansville and Bloomington, so just trucking along. See you in a bit.
Wake up in the morning when my head is on the floor.
All right, we're about 45 minutes away. Getting real tired of driving, and I'm not even halfway through the drive, and on my way home I have to drive a 37-year-old truck home that I don't know anything about and that I've only seen 6 pictures of and 1 video of. Yeah, so we're almost there, and I'll see you guys when we get there. All right, I'm about an hour from home. Obviously, this is not a very good walk around. She's doing really good. Everything's good. I'm really tired, so I'm having honestly kind of the worst time ever. I usually am in bed. I've usually been asleep for 2 or 3 hours at this point, but we're trucking along. I tried to stop, get something to drink, but this gas station's closed. I'm in this weird stretch of highway between Bloomington and Evansville where there's literally nothing. Yeah, but picked the truck up. The guy was really nice. He met me somewhere and then I dropped him off at home, blah, blah, blah. But we're doing good. Nothing bad's happening. We're gonna make it fine. We'll do a full walk around and a cleanup of this super sweet truck. I'm really stoked to own this thing. I mean, there's definitely some rust on the body, but that's okay. I got it for cheap, so I ain't scared. All right, I'll see you guys in the morning. Morning. I made it home last night. It sucked. I got 2 hours of sleep. But here she is in the light. I'm just gonna do a quick little walk around and then I'm gonna clean it, but I'm not gonna film it. Y'all have seen me clean enough cars. So I went through the maintenance records. There's a big old stack of maintenance records. This thing in 2000, I might get these numbers wrong, but it doesn't really matter. In the last 15 years, 3 people have put about $15,000 into this rig. In 2009, it was sold for like $9 grand. And then, I can't remember the dates. Anyway, it got a new so they had the transmission serviced, and then like 6 months later it was still having a hard time shifting. So they put a new transmission in it, and I don't know if it was refurbished or from a junkyard or OEM or, you know, it doesn't say. It just says like transmission blah 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 blah, whatever it says. So I don't know how many miles are on this transmission. So new transmission, and then also this transmission has overdrive, which is super tight, which is also why I was able to drive it 70 miles an hour for 4 hours and it not be at like 4K or whatever. And then then a few years later, they put a new engine in it. So again, I don't know mileage on the engine. I don't know if it was from a junkyard. I have no idea. I don't know if it was rebuilt. No clue. It's just new engine. And then at some point, they redid the rear axle. It had been coated a couple times, but honestly, I'm not really sure if that actually did it any favors or it just held more moisture. I haven't really crawled around on the underside, but we'll do that another day. The saddest part about this, and also why I got it so cheap, is because they did this like really terrible like bed liner crap. They just shouldn't have done that. It's basically like bed liner Bondo plastic. So I mean, it's not, you know, I mean, again, the truck was cheap enough, but this is all literally like just a sheet of bed liner. So it looks like they cut this out, but instead of like putting new sheet metal in, they just like did this, which is honestly terrible. I think to make it look a little bit better and maybe to get some of this rust out, I'm not going to do it today, but just peel some of this crap off of here. I mean, the frame has got coating on it, which honestly I might go through and maybe wire wheel that coating off and just paint it. A bunch of the seals and like the transfer case and the front and the rear diff have been redone. The whole rear end at one point was like completely rebuilt. Interior is actually in really good shape. I hate these rubber mats. I'm gonna pull those out. All my tools are back here from the drive home last night, but there's not any rips in the seats other than just this little guy right here. There's no radio, but honestly, I'll put one in. He gave me, there's a radio out of a Scion, I guess, down here that fits. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. It doesn't seem worth it when you can buy one of those head units on Amazon for like $100. So I'm going to leaf blow this out, vacuum it out, put some car seats in it, and then maybe we'll do, I'm gonna look through those maintenance records again and see like last time it had like an actual tune-up, you know. There's an oil change that was done recently, but I'll have to look into that. But we'll do some maintenance on it. But man, honestly, this is like my dream truck, other than the fact that someone put bed liner on it. But I can afford things that people poorly did body work on, and I can't afford things that have been professionally restored. So I'm gonna clean this thing. See you guys. Hello, we're back. So I've been driving this Land Cruiser around for 3-4 days, just, you know, getting the kids, going to the grocery store, running errands, etc. The automatic transmission, I guess, is kind of the weak point on these rigs. So I think I'd mentioned in the last video, the transmission was replaced in like 2009 or something. I don't know when the last time it was serviced. There's no service records of it being serviced henceforth. So there's a throttle cable, and then there's a kickdown cable that goes to the transmission. I was reading on some forums, and apparently those get stretched out pretty easily. And basically, when that kickdown cable gets loose, the transmission doesn't know where your throttle is. So I will show you what's going on. I don't know if I'm going to do it today, but I also want to pull the spark plugs. There's also no record of like a, you know, standard tune-up kind of situation. So as I was saying, there's no record of, you know, the last time spark plugs were done, timing was checked, spark plug wires. They look pretty new. They don't really look that new. You know, rotor cap, or not, yeah, or distributor cap, rotor, etc. Anyway, so we'll be doing that. I would also like to service the transmission, but before I service the transmission, I wanted to investigate this kickdown cable situation. This, I believe, yeah, this is the throttle cable, and then this is the kickdown cable, and both of them have a ton of slack. So it's just a matter of figuring out what size nuts these are, and then boop, extending this out. This one is definitely loose. So I'm hoping that that fixes all of my transmission. It shifts okay usually, but then sometimes it doesn't. Automatic transmissions are kind of my, first of all, I just wish this thing was a manual, but then also you get into the thing where it's like, you know, clutch master, clutch slave, your clutch, your actual clutch, everything else, throwout bearing. And then there's just other little stuff like belts. Oh, and then also the alternator, well, and I don't know, I tested it, it was getting like 13.5 volts, which just doesn't seem like enough. But I was looking on a forum, and then people were saying the OEM alternators only do like between 13.5 and 14 volts, but my voltage meter is bouncing around, so I don't know if something is awry, if this transmission, or not transmission, if the alternator is about to fail or what. But yeah, I'm gonna adjust these cables, and then I gotta drop some stuff off at not the Goodwill, but a thrift store, locally owned thrift store. So I'm gonna mess with this, and then we'll take it on a little test drive. I damn near need a ladder to work on this thing. Let's see what size these nuts are. Bigger than a 12. Well, the kickdown looks like bigger than a 12. It's gotta be a 14. There's also there's no good place for my wrenches. It's gotta be a 14. Yep. All right, so lefty loosey, but it's righty because I'm backwards. Come on. All right. All right, there's tension now. Obviously, I don't know how much tension is supposed to be on it, but more than 0. I will tighten these up now. And I'm hoping that this will, it's not really slipping, it's just like hesitating. I guess that kind of is slipping. All right, that's tight. I want more than that. There we go. I like that more. And then my throttle cable is also a little loosey-goosey. All right, I like that. Looks like the throttle cable is like a 12 millimeter. That's tight. I think I need some lubey. Let me go get some PB Blast. That little tight. A little bit. All right. If I can get a little bit more out of it, I can. It's just this bolt. It's kind of, these threads are a little gummed up. I can't use my little fingies. All right, let me hit these with the 2-wrench special here, because I obviously do not want my throttle cable or my kickdown cable freaking out. Do I have 2 14s? I do not. And then I got plenty of time. I think I'm gonna pull one of the spark plugs, whichever one's the easiest to get to. Let me just go grab another 14 millimeter. This is stupid. You guys ever seen a channel lock branded wrench? All right. There we go. There we go. Cool. Okay. So now let me pull a spark plug. Looks like this one looks pretty easy to get to. Yeah. That one. Oh no, this one. I'm going with this one. Let's hope I don't break the boot. Boot is good. And then let me go grab my spark plug. You didn't see any of that. It's the second one from the front. Obviously, I don't know what cylinder, you know, the number of that cylinder is, because I don't know the timing order of this. But okay, let me go pull a spark plug getter outer. We will check a plug. If the plug looks good, I'm not going to mess with the spark plugs right now. If the plug looks bad, I will go get a set of spark plugs and we will replace the spark plugs, and I'll probably go ahead and buy new spark plug wires, because there's no way that all 6 of these, I guarantee one of them's gonna break. Grabbed a smorgasbord of, I'm gonna go with 13/16. Let's see if she's a chunky boy. Oh, nailed it. 13/16 it is. Am I gonna be able to do this one-handed? Let's see. All right, that seems like a pretty good angle. I mean, there's 50, 100 million vacuum lines on this thing. Just taking her easy, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if this thing had a vacuum leak somewhere. It's not something that I mean, honest, this is the most time I've spent in the engine bay so far. I drove this thing home 4 hours, as you know, and it did pretty well. It's an oil leak a little bit at either the valve cover, somewhere. This wasn't torqued to Texas, so that's a good sign. Let me see if I can get this out the rest of the way with my little fingies. I'm trying to be very careful. Let's see what door number, maybe this is 5, I don't know. Door number 2 from the front, door number 5 from the back. What's going on? Come on, little guy. All right, up. Come on. Oh yeah, this thing's old. Holy crap. All right, we need new spark plugs stat. I'm surprised this thing even friggin' run. All right, well, definitely getting new spark plugs. You know what else I might do? Yeah, man, these are toast. I'm surprised that I don't know how I drove this thing home 4 hours. Holy crap. Okay, well, let me get on the old O'Reilly's and order some spark plugs, because this is crazy. Spark plugs, they've got them, but the cables aren't going to be in until Tuesday, and I'm not going to do what I would normally do, is try to pull all of these and then replace the spark plugs and then break one of the cables and then not be able to drive it. So I'm just going to give this the old Laurel, Indiana rebuild on the wire wheel and some brake clean, just pop it back in. It got me almost 300 miles home, so I'm sure it'll scoot me around town for the next couple days. I think next step, I definitely want to do an oil change. We're coming up on, so there's a sticker. Homeboy was paying somebody to do the oil. It's coming up on the end of that, and then also the last time it was changed was like 2022. So oil doesn't go bad, but we're coming up on the, and I also don't know if they were doing 5,000 miles, 3,000 miles. I don't know if they were doing motor oil that had any like zinc or bones or whatever in it. So I want to do an oil change. So I should have just went ahead and ordered an oil filter too, but I didn't do that. And then that'll probably be really it for now. Maybe next episode we'll do the transmission drain and fill. So I'm gonna pop this thing back in and go drive this thing around and see if the throttle cable situation did it any favors. Oh yeah, real quick, this rear view mirror, not rear view mirror, side mirror is busted. So I ordered the cheapest ones that I could find on eBay. They were like 40 bucks. Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. These were spray painted black, so I would bet that these are these, maybe. I don't really care if they're chrome or not. There's enough chrome on this thing. If I get sick of the chrome, I'll spray paint them one day, but I currently can't see out of, this one is broken. It's busted. There's no mirror, and it's kind of sketchy. So I'm gonna replace these real quick, and then I'm gonna pour a can of Seafoam in the gas tank. Might as well clean under here while I'm here. I'm just using some Windex. Seafoam. Usually I get Berryman because it's cheaper, but that's all they had. Should also probably get a new gas cap. Also, I think I'm gonna have to stick a screwdriver in this to open up the little hatchy thingy. mean, I'm sure she starts up. I drove it 3 hours ago. Real quick, I'll show you my voltmeter, what's going on with that. I guess we could test it right now, but I'm kind of in a little bit of a hurry. So it's only sitting at like, I don't know, I guess that'd be like 12-ish volts, maybe a little bit higher than 12 volts. I also need to look up, I need to check the timing, because I don't know how retarded or advanced it's supposed to be. I'll probably do that when I do the tune-up. Yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna drive this to this thrift store. Oh yeah, I can't. I need to adjust my mirrors. It's always a joy to manually adjust your passenger side window. A little higher. Oh yeah, she'll ride. This one needs to be a little higher too. All right, here we go. I'm excited to see if this throttle cable is any more responsive. Ooh, it shifts better. At least, I mean, I shifted into second. Where it was kind of getting a little caught was between second and third. So no, that was better. Yep. All right, well, that fixed that problem. I still want to definitely service the transmission. According to the forums, the filter is like reusable. So like it's just like a metal screen. You can just clean it with brake clean. So you just really need to replace the gasket. Yeah, I can tell a difference. I wish I would have taken you guys more along the journey when I drove this thing home, but man, I was so tired and just over it. I usually go to bed at like 8 or 9 o'clock, and driving a 40-year-old vehicle that you've never driven before on roads that you've never really driven on through a ton of construction at, you know, between 9 p.m. when you're usually in bed and 1 o'clock in the morning when you get home was not my favorite thing to do. So that tightening up that throttle cable and that kickdown cable really did a lot. So that makes me feel better. I think this thing's gonna run way better once I give it an actual real tune-up. Just passed a really cool 3rd gen 4Runner, super clean. All right, well, once I get all these tune-up parts, we'll do that tune-up. See you guys later. All right, little update. I almost already fixed it, but it was, I'll stand over here. It was idling a little high, so I think I actually had the throttle cable a little too tight. So I'm just gonna loosen that a little bit. We're back down to about 1100 RPM. I'm gonna try to get it right at 1000 and then look up where it's supposed to idle. Hello, so it's, I gotta go to work today. Let me stand back here. Tinkering on the rig a little bit. So when I was looking at the spark plug yesterday, it's definitely running lean. It also is idling kind of high. So assuming timing advanced, it wasn't really like pinging necessarily, but you could tell that it was getting kind of close. So I retarded the timing a little bit too much. And then now I think it's just a hair advanced still. So I rolled it back a little bit, test drove it, it was real sluggish. This time I still think it's just a touch high. We're idling at about 900 RPMs, I think. Let me check again. I think we're supposed to be at like 850. Let me verify that. I mean, obviously 900, 850 are very similar to each other, but I was gonna show you guys, if you're ever working on one of these things, I found the easiest way to get to that distributor bolt is through here with your arm, and then you're probably not going to be able to see anything, and I can't do this with one hand, but it's on the front side of the distributor. So I'm going to loosen that bolt, and I'm going to retard this just a little bit, because also too, when I shift it into reverse, I'm getting a pretty harsh clunk, and I'm trying to baby this transmission. So I'm going to retard that just a little bit, and then we'll take it on another test drive. But yeah, it's just a little 12mm bolt down there, and you could tell that nobody had touched the distributor in a while because it was kind of stuck. So yeah. Oh, also, if you're wondering why I don't just use a timing light, and there's no timing marks on the crank pulley, crank spinner, the round thing, I can't think of words. The timing mark is on the flywheel, and there's like this inspection cover, and you have to find marks on the inspection cover. But in order, I mean, I guess I could do it by myself, but you would have to like, just like, I guess, tape your timing gun or something, and then you would have to come up and then twist it and then go back down there and then look at the timing light and then come back up and then twist, you know what I mean? So I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. There's some other, I don't know, I'm just listening. I'm just using the ears like Grandpa told me. All right, that sounds pretty good. All right, two test drives later, and I think I've just basically returned it to exactly where it was before I started doing this. So there's that. Yeah, so I think it, you know, it's got, well, I don't know how many miles it has on it, but I think it's just happy, a little bit more advanced than maybe it should be. And maybe when I have a buddy, I'll have a buddy come over, or I'll go out to a buddy's house or something, and maybe we'll stick a timing light on it, because that's a two-person job. Because, like, you can't, yeah, you know, like when you're up and you got your timing light and you can woo, wee, wee, woo, woo. You can't do that on these rigs. I'm going to take it on one more test drive, and then I'm going to take it to work. Hello. We're messing with timing again. I'm going to actually try to stick a timing light on this thing. The key word there is going to be try. Let me grab a light so I can kind of show you guys what's going on with this thing. So yesterday I was saying that I thought that I had to get up under, well, okay. So the timing marks are on the flywheel on this rig, which I've never messed with a truck. I don't know if that's like a normal thing that you guys are just like, well, yeah, the 1964 Buick whatever is that was on the timing. That's where the timing marks were. Don't you know nothing? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of that, but I'm sure it's a thing. I'm not an automotive expert. I'm just a boy with some tools, okay? So anyway, the timing marks are on the flywheel, and you can look at them. There's absolutely no way you're going to be able to see it. It's above the starter. Okay, you see that little red mark on this wiring harness? It's like to the right of that. It looks like there's a 10mm bolt, and then there's a little show me the timing marks thing on there. So apparently there is a, I'll need to Google it again, but there's a mark that is just one large circle, and then there's a mark that is two circles. The 2-circle one is 7 degrees before top dead center, so that's 7 degrees of advance. So that is what I am going to shoot for. I'm guessing that this thing is probably already more advanced than that because the engine is old and tired. I don't know how many miles. So this engine was replaced, supposedly. The odometer reads 290,000 miles. Now, this engine could have more miles. It could have less. It could have about that. I don't know. But at some point, this engine was replaced, so according to the maintenance records that I have. Now, again, they could have pulled a good running 200,000 mile engine and put it in it when when it had 100,000 miles. I don't know. It just says used engine. So I'm guessing that the timing is probably more advanced than it is. So, according to the old interwebs, this, I think, is the diagnostic port. Yes, and it's very crusty. I have to jump a couple of these wires in this diagnostic port, and then I need to unplug the vacuum advance, which I don't even know wherever that is. I don't even see it on the distributor. It's somewhere. And then I gotta get that little viewing hatch out of the way. And then hopefully I can see that timing mark. If I can't, I think I'm just gonna give it a little bit more advanced than it currently has. And then you can actually lower the idle with, I think it might be this screw right here. You can actually lower the idle with that screw, unless it's on the other side. Let's see. Oh, no. I'm about 95% sure that that's actually, you can lower the idle with that screw. I'm gonna do a little bit more Googling before I dig into this. And then I gotta get that little 10mm bolt off there so I can see this timing mark. So I'm gonna hook you guys up on the fast looker while I figure this out. Engine bay like a little monkey. This is the little inspection flywheel viewer cover. Got that off there. It actually wasn't, it was kind of loose because it sucks to get to, and I don't think that they could torque it down all the way. But I got this off. So now we need to find top dead center, and then since I'm here by myself, instead of like tapping on the starter, I think the easiest way to do that is gonna be, I'm gonna figure out which cylinder is number 1, and then I'm gonna put, can I get my lonely guy on this thing? Hold on. Let me see if I can get my lonely guy switch on this thing. All right, I don't think it's worth it to try to get the beep burp on there. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna disconnect the coil, and then I'm just gonna bonk, 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 and then I'm gonna get sick of that and then maybe try something different. All right, I disconnected the coil. I'm just gonna get in there and see if I can find these timing marks, and it's probably not gonna work. There's no way that I'm ever gonna be able to see that. I can't, there's absolutely no line of sight to that timing mark. Like, it ain't happening, y'all. I think I'm just gonna advance it until it sounds good, and then try to mess with the air intake thing. And then the only other thing that I think that I would like to do is just check for vacuum leaks. Like, here, let me kind of try to show you guys what's going on. I don't even think I can friggin' show it to you. You might be able to, do you see there's like a hole in the bell housing? Maybe you can see it, I don't know. I can't even really see it. There's a hole in the bell housing, but I'm like, if I get a timing light hooked up and I'm standing, you know, say here, there's just no way. By the time I go through this and even find the timing marks, I guess I could pull cylinder 1 and then do the, like, get it kind of close to top dead center by sticking a paper towel in. Let me just try that. I mean, I guess I'm already this far. I'm gonna stick a little wad of paper towel in cylinder 1. When that shoots out, we should be kind of close to the compression stroke. I guess the crankshaft pulley down here, unless I could turn it off the power steering. Let me try to turn it off. Okay, man, I'm all over the place. This is the power steering pump. Let me see if I can turn the crank off the power steering pump real quick. I think it's like a 17 or a 19 millimeter or something. The only problem with this is, like, even if I can get it to turn off the power steering pump, am I even going to be able to see the timing marks? All right, I found a little hole that I can see it, so, nah, it must be a 19 millimeter. Yep, all right. Let's see if we can get this thing to turn. All right, hopefully this gives me enough gumption. I have the gumption. I can't turn it off that pump. I don't got the beans. Oh, there we go. Is it spinning the flywheel though? Yes. Gosh, it's so hard to see. Oh, somebody has put a paint marker on it. All right, that's good. I just need to go. Yep. I would love to show it to you, but there's no way you're gonna be able to see it. So, okay, I found a timing mark and they put paint marker on it. So I guess we'll hook up a timing light to this thing, see if we can figure it out. I think I assume I'm supposed to disconnect the vacuum advance. Does this not have like a normal, where does this go? Is this the vacuum advance? According to the old interwebs, warm up the engine, loosen the bolt that holds the distributor, get the engine idle to 650. Then you got to jump these 2 wires in the diagnostic box, connect the timing light to cylinder number 1, aim the light at the back of the engine on the passenger side, turn the distributor so that you align it with the wire and the thing. So it's kind of like just timing a normal thing. I need to make a wire real quick to jump that box, and then I need to get a 12 millimeter wrench to loosen the distributor, and then I need to get my timing light hooked up. Cylinder number 1 is the one closest to the radiator. So, all right, I'm hooking up my jumper wire. I'm assuming I'm doing this right, but I don't know. All right, I got my jumper. Well, am I supposed to get the engine? Let's go through the instructions correctly. Let's get the engine warmed up first. All right, let me start this thing. Hopefully it still starts and I didn't already break something. Okay, I got that jumper wire hooked up. Let's see if the check engine light's on. Yeah, okay. So that's good. So now, let's get it to 650 RPM. We're actually pretty close to 650. I'm gonna call that 650. Let me get a 12 millimeter wrench now and then hook up my timing light. Gosh, dang it, I can't see anything. All right, you're not gonna be able to see any of this, but I found the spot to be able to see the thing. So now I'm going to grab a 12 millimeter wrench and loosen up the distributor, see if we can get this thing locked in.
One minute, 37 seconds later.
All right, I removed my jumper. It still sounds good. Let me get my timing light off of here. We'll go take this thing for a test drive. I also want to see if it's getting hot. No, we're good. We're right below the middle, which according to the internet is like regular operating temperature. It's like 190 or so. Let me see what the idle's at. idle's a little high, so I'm gonna run that down a little bit. I'm gonna take her for a rip around the block, and then I'm gonna go to O'Reilly's and get an oil change for it. All right, great success. It runs better. It ran a little bit cooler. I gotta get that inspection plate back on there, which that's probably gonna be really annoying. And then I got spark plugs and an oil filter at the O'Reilly's hub. I should have just had them deliver it closer, but whatever. And then I got to run a couple errands. Then we'll come back home, put new spark plugs in it, maybe. And then, because I'm waiting on those plugs, I don't want to break a plug. We'll see how overconfident I get. All right, we're back from the O'Reilly's. I've got the finest oil changing equipment that money can buy. And I also got 6 new spark plugs. I'm not completely sure if I'm going to change the spark plugs right now or just wait to get the spark plug wires. Maybe what I'll do is I'll see if any of the spark plug wires that I have from the Isuzu Trooper fit. And then that way, if I accidentally break a spark plug wire, I'm A-okay. So I'm at least going to get the oil change though. This is going to be pretty straightforward. Let's do it. The garage is a giant mess again. I'm going to guess this is like a, I don't know, 17. I'm gonna grab 19, 17, 16, and 15. If that doesn't do it, then another size will. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Look at that. Just right there. 15? 15? No. It's a 14. It's a cute little guy. Let me grab a 14. What do we got? 14. Man, why do people gotta be torculating these so tight? All right, well, let me grab some thick boys. There we go. I guess that torque wasn't that bad. Nope. Definitely pretty dark. She was due for one. Oil's nice and warm still from driving it across town. Looks nothing scary, so that's good. This thing takes 8.2 quarts of oil. So that's great. I don't know why I'm just sitting here. Oh, I guess you probably couldn't see anything. I guess I could go up top and start fiddling with the whatchamacallit, the oil filter. Well, I got oil all over my hands. All right, oil filter. I don't even know if you can see it, but it's in there with all of the other 1,100 things. Oil still leaking from the bottom. I guess. I know I'm gonna make a huge mess. I'll just wait for that to finish draining, and then I'll try to move that pan out of the way. That's what we'll do. All right, I got the drain pan down there. Got it plugged back up. See if I can. Oh, great. Gotta do hillbilly stuff. Of course, I have to use my... Well, hold on. Before I rip this thing apart, let's make sure that my new oil filter is the same. Well, that's 21515. This is 51515. I think that this is because this is the extra one. We're just gonna hope that this is the right part. O'Reilly said it was. I have pretty good luck with all their parts matching stuff. Let me try to not ruin this. Okay, should be able to get it off by hand though. I disconnected my ignition coil. How big of a mess am I making? Not that big of a mess. I need a flashlight so I can see down up in there. Spilled oil all over the bottom of the block. But I don't know how they really expect you to not do that. All right, let's get this new one on. Thread's on, so I think we're good. I'm not gonna torculate this thing to Texas. All Ugh, no, that's as tight as I can get it. Okay, let's fill her back up. All right, I have no idea where my funnel is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this hyper lube to make a funnel out of the bottle. I'm glad there was no milkshake. Not that I thought, you know, this thing had a blown head gasket or anything, but I'm very glad that that oil looks so clean. All right, my oil filter is back on. My oil cap is stuck. There we go. Just needed to give her 2 hands. Just smells like oil. It's a little crusty, but. So this motor definitely wants zinc and all the bones of the creatures of the past. Man, I'm shaky. So now that fits really good in there. I just need to cut this bottle. I have a really nice blue funnel somewhere, but can't find it. So now we have a funnel. It's called this plastic bottle. Come on. All right, let me make sure this thing takes 8.2 quarts. Pretty sure it does, but let's check the Google machine just to make sure. We don't want to under or overfill it. Yep, Toyota 3FE 8.22 quarts. So we'll call that 0.2 quarts-ish. Obviously, I'll check it. Drain for a second. All right, that's good. Doing 3 more quarts here. All right, so down to this line right here. Just a hair more. We'll check the oil, and then I've got about an hour. It shouldn't take me an hour to replace these spark plugs. I don't remember what size my dang spark plugs were. Were they? I also can't remember. Oh, here it is. 13/16, I think. Let's test it off one of these new ones. I mean, I guess it could be a different diameter. Ooh, these are fancy. Yeah. That's the biggest spark plug gap I've ever seen. No, it isn't. Never mind. Let me check the, let me get on the Google machine again and check the spark plug gap. Toyota 3FE spark plug gap. Difference between, just give me the dang answer. 0.34. These are all like 0.36. I ain't mad at it. I don't think 0.2 is gonna matter too much in a 40-year-old truck. Okay. I think I'm just gonna put you guys on time-lapse mode. This is probably gonna take way longer than I want it to. So, see you guys in a few minutes. Routed a couple of these wires. I'm just kind of making sure everything is nice and tidy. All the boots are on, etc. All of those spark plugs look absolutely terrible. And you can see they were starting to fail, blow up, explode. Yeah, tons of oxidization, running lean. I mean, you know, I don't want to say I'd rather see that than some other things, but I would rather see that than some other things. Okay, make sure this thing fires up. And then that's going to be it for this episode. I don't really know what we're doing next, but let me think about it and I'll fill you in on it. Let me see if this thing fires up. I did all the spark plugs one at a time, so all the, you know, the firing order and everything should be right. I would imagine this is going to do this thing a ton of favors. At first, I kind of felt like there was like a miss or something, but everything seems good now. I was kind of expecting it to fire up a little bit faster just because all those spark plugs were god awful. Let me just take it for a little spin. All right. So I was fiddling around with those spark plug wires to make sure they were plugged in all the way, and I rode the Lightning a couple times. So I think the spark plug wires are gonna help a lot. But I think it's feeling a little bit more responsive, but it could just be in my head. I definitely need to get those spark plug wires put in, and I think that's gonna make just as much of a difference as the spark plugs themselves, if that makes sense. Because it's definitely you know, they're not insulated, or you know, they're weak, or you know, they're not clicking in all the way, etc. And then I adjusted the idle down a little bit. I'm not sure if the ECU is kicking it back up, but when I shifted into reverse, it kind of, you know, it clunks a little bit, and it clunks that time. It clunked a little bit into drive too, and that's because it's RPMing like 200 RPMs above what it should be. So the idle screw actually doesn't have any more. I can't lower the idle anymore with the idle screw. So yeah, I think we're doing great though. This is daily driver worthy, I believe. Let me get back to the house and I'll say bye to everybody. Alrighty, YouTube. I don't know how well you can see me. Okay. Oh wait, this is fancy. I got my back light and my front light. Alright, well that's going to be it for this episode. I have no idea what we're doing next. I'm trying to find a rig to do a will it run, so hopefully that'll happen. If not, we'll just keep doing stuff until we find one. Thanks for watching Clint Garage. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton to be able to buy 1988 Toyota Land Cruisers and also $600 trucks from junkyards. See you next week.